So Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa wala amma ba'd. To continue our halaqa in usul al-fiqh, we talked about the importance of usul al-fiqh and also that no one should engage on learning fiqh before they learn the usul al-fiqh. And yesterday I asked you a few questions, or we did some few definitions. So I will go through that inshallah to see if we are all in the same page before I move forward inshallah. As you know, this knowledge is based on what you memorize. What you memorize. If you don't memorize it, you don't get it. So you have to memorize it in order to at least live with it. Whenever you want it, you bring it inshallah. So first, and we go piece by piece. So you don't go in the middle. You feel like, hey, I need to bring a piece. How can I bring it? So it has to be with you all the time. So based on that, we'll go to the definitions, inshallah, and the concept of it. So number one is, we talked about three important things. One is to linguistically define what is al-asl, and also to linguistically define what is al-fara'. Then we also give a definition of al-fiqh, right? So I want, inshallah, to ask all those three definitions. Do we remember them? Who wants to go first? Okay.
Easy one.
Okay. What is the definition of, like, what is your understanding of al-asl?
The asl is the foundation.
Is the foundation. Do you get the definition in Arabic? Do you want the definition in Arabic?
ما يبنى ما يبنى عليه غيره.
ما يبنى عليه غيره. That's very good. What does that mean?
That which things are built upon.
That is something that you build something else upon it, right? So, and what is the concept of al-fara'? Al-fara' is the branch. The fara' is a branch. So the branch has to be built upon a fara', right? The branch has to be built upon the asl. The branch has to be built upon the origin, the foundation, the principle, right? So actually what they're saying here is it can only be two things: the foundation and the branch. And anything that is not the foundation, it has to be a fara', and it has nowhere to be found except when it's built upon the asl, upon the foundation. So this is the concept of usul fiqh. Then he gave us the concept or the understanding or the definition of al-fiqh itself. Who can remind me that?
In Arabic or English?
In Arabic and English.
الفقه علم كل حكم شرعي جاء اجتهادا دون حكم قطعي.
Na'am. So I know you find this definition somewhere else, but not in my book.
This is the nazm.
The nadm. Good. So you see, now he memorized the nadm, which is they put it in a form of like a poetry. So it's easy when you memorize it, you don't forget about it. So that's the importance of having those abiyat memorized in terms of ilm. So what you said is a knowledge that only focuses on what?
The rulings of the Sharia that are reached by ijtihad without doing
Without
a ruling that is based in asl.
Yes, without
Without a ruling that is
without a ruling that is not subject to multiple understanding. That's what exactly means. Whenever the ruling comes and is not subject to multiple understandings, that's a fiqh. Because of that is qat'i. Like for example, 5 daily prayers. Do we have any difference in have 5 daily prayers? That is a little bit like everybody should know that, right? So that's what fiqh. That is everybody know that. Like we pray 5 times a day. Dhuhr is 4 rak'ah. can you find anyone among the fuqaha who will dispute that? Who will say, no, my opinion or my madhab is dhuhr is 2 rak'ah. So not that. So fiqh is a focus on the masail or the issues that you would not find a definite or a certain proof that doesn't give the person a chance to investigate or to do more effort to bring a potential understanding or potential acceptance or accepted rule. That's fiqh, right? So now, today, we're going to talk about the rulings or the principles or the circle that fiqh goes around. The circle of fiqh goes around. And they call it Al-Ahkaam as-Sab'ah. There are 7 rulings or the 7 circle where fiqh is just focused on. Fiqh will only focus on these 7 things. Okay? What will make us understand or what will make us put a ruling or what will make us say this ruling has to be here or here or here within these 7 items? That is fiqh. So the first one is al-wajib. So the first one is al-wajib. So the reason these terms you have to understand them, not just understand but to memorize them. So then fiqh only focus on or only work with these 5 things. 7. 7, we can call it scales, right? You bring the ruling, the fiqh will find a way to put it into one of these 7 things, right? The first one is al-wajib, right? Al-wajib. So what is al-wajib? Or we go through all of them. You have al-wajib, you have al-mandub. You have second one is al-mandub. And these things, they have to be memorized because you cannot be a faqih and say, oh, how can I remember that thing again? How can I remember wajib again? How can I remember mandub again? How can I remember mandub again? So this is mandub, and they have to pronounce also correct. You know, I love to pronounce the words and the letters very perfect, right? And then you have al-mubah. You have al-mubah. Then you have al-makruh, which is the 4th, right? Al-makruh. Then you have khamsa, you have as-sahih, which I will also explain. As-sahih. Then you have I missed one. Al-mahdhur. Al-mahdhur, which is 6, right? Al-mahdhur. And then you have sab'a, you have al-batil, right? Al-batil.
What is number 6?
Yes, so we'll go up. So number 6 is al-mahdhur. Al-mahdhur. Yeah, look, al-mah, like this ha. Excuse my writing though.
Oh, al-mahdur.
So al-mahdhur. So al-wajib and al-mandub and al-mubah, al-makruh, al-sahih, al-mahdhur, al-batil. So you have to memorize this because fiqh will not give you another option. It will come to the opposites of these things or with a different feel of saying it, but will only focus on these ones. Okay? That doesn't mean that usul fiqh will stop on these things. Right? So now we're talking about where fiqh is talking about.
This is ahkam.
Yeah, this is the fiqh. This is the ahkam. Yeah, this is ahkam. This is where fiqh will put every item of the fiqh has to go here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or here. So that's what fiqh is doing. So then we're going to go to the more details, which is the bigger principle. So where fiqh is getting these things, or where fiqh will, or what system fiqh will use to say this item is wajib, or this item is mandub, or this item is mubah, or this item is makruh, or sahih, or mahdhur, or batil. But understanding these things by definition and by their concept, you'll be able to understand exactly how the fiqh will put that into them, right? So first we go to the wajib. So wajib is, the definition of wajib is ma yuthabu fa'iluhu, ma yuthabu fa'iluhu wa yu'aqabu tarikuhu. So ma yu'aqabu fa'iluhu wa yu'aqabu tarikuhu. Or in this definition he said ما يثاب على فعله ويعاقب على تركه. The same thing. ما يثاب في فعله ويعاقب على تركه. This means ما يثاب فاعله ويعاقب تاركه. Two things. Wajib means thawab. You know what thawab means? Thawab.
Rewards.
Rewards. Right? Thawab. This is the reward, right? So he said, ma yuthabu is the action that will bring reward to the doer. This is fa'iluhu. أي الذي يفعل هذا الفعل أو هذا الفعل يكون بمقابل ثواب. Which means that this action will inherit, will result a reward. Doing a wajib, act of wajib, will result a reward. But not doing a wajib will result also a punishment. So that is the. So when I say it's wajib, you are saying, hey, if you do this, you will be rewarded. If you don't do it, you will be punished. Right? We don't punish, we don't say you will punish, but that action has a punishment if you don't do it. And it has a reward if you do it. That is wajib. So then before you say wajib, you have to know exactly if this is wajib or not. Can you just say, oh, I think this is wajib? No. Now you're speaking on behalf of this. Because anything that is in this circle, this is the nature of it. If a person does it, they will be rewarded. Who rewards them? Not you. Who places the reward? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And some rewards are placed unknown also. Right? And some punishments are placed unknown. Some are unknown. Right? So then the person who's doing a wajib or who's saying a wajib should understand that wajib, the nature of wajib is something that when you do it, you receive a reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you don't do it, you receive a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why we say that? It's another way of saying it's a sin. And every sin comes with a punishment. But we don't say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish this person because we're talking about fiqh, right? Fiqh doesn't care about what happens, are you going to be forgiven or not? It only focuses on to identify and limit the action. Does it a rewardable action or does it a punishable action? It stops there. It will tell you it is a punishable action. That's why it tells you that the person will be punished. The person will be punished, which means that not doing that, the person who's not doing that is punishable by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But fiqh la yujib doesn't, place the punishment upon the person. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who does that. So we have to also understand that. So now, al-wajibu ma yuthabu fa'iluhu wa yu'aqabu tarikuhu. Right? Or you can say, the definition I have here, so you cannot be confused if you see that. He said, ma yuthabu ala fi'lihi, wa yu'aqabu ala tarkihi. Is an action that doing it will be rewarding, not doing it is a will be punished. So that is the concept of al-wajib. Okay? So you don't go anywhere and bring another definition of wajib, except this definition. Okay, Zakaria? Zakaria, what is wajib?
Something where if you do it, you'll be rewarded. If you don't, you could be punished.
Good. But how about if somebody comes to you and say, how do you know if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish the person or He will reward the person? That's not our job as fuqaha, right? That is not what we're learning. How do you know? No. What we know that this action is classified as wajib, and if it is a wajib, the definition of a wajib among the fuqaha is doing it has a reward, not doing it has a punishment. So you don't waste your time there trying to tell them, no. Just tell them this is where fiqh stops. This is where fiqh stops. So defining the wajib makes you understand every action that falls on this category. This is how we treat the action as a faqih. Okay? So that is al-wajib. Then you have al-mandub. ما يثاب على فعله وما يثاب فاعله ولا يعاقب تاركه أو لا يعاقب على تركه. So this is very close to this, but one way. One way. You can use just the same thing here, right? And then you say ولا يعاقب تاركه, right? ولا يعاقب تاركه. What does that mean? Can you guess? So it's the same thing here, right? Which means if you do it, you'll be rewarded. If you don't, you will be punished, right? So you cannot mix this and this, right? We'll also come to the fuqaha, the selection that they made within this. So every faqih also they will have a difference of the way they use it. But right now, that will bring a now.
Mandub, ما يثاب فاعل.
Yeah.
لا يثاب
لا يثاب. ليس هناك يثاب.
Yeah.
Mandub ما يثاب فاعله ولا يعاقب تاركه. That's a definition. So that's the reason why if you don't have the definition in reality, you'll always get confused. You'll always get confused because I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because nadab, it's okay to do it, right? But not when the fuqaha say mandub.
Yeah. I would say يعاقب فاعله.
يعاقب فاعله.
ولا يعاقب تاركه.
No, that will come. But mandub here is the same as wajib, the first phrase, right? But different on the end, right? Mandub is you do it, you will be rewarded, and we'll give examples. Examples will come. But mandub ما يثاب فعله وما يثاب على فعله ولا يعاقب على وفي تركه, right? وما يثاب فاعله. So if you say you either focus on the subject or you focus on the action when you define in Arabic, right? You may say ما يثاب فاعله. This is the doer, right? Which the doer will be rewarded, right? And the one who didn't do it will be punished, right? Or you can say ما يثاب على فعله, their action that bring reward to itself, right? And brings reward if somebody denies it or didn't do it, but it's punishment, right? So then you go to the mandub, you do the same thing in the beginning. You say ما يثاب فاعله, but then لا يعاقب تاركه. Okay, you get it? So it's kind of like very close to the wajib, very close to the wajib, except that there's difference here. So the reason why I keep repeating is I want to get it right, so you don't get mixed up with it in the figure. So when you say, oh, this is mandub, you know exactly what you're talking about. But then somebody doesn't shake you, push you back. Oh, I think it's wajib, or I think it's mandub. No, you don't do that. You learn, you implement the principle that we talked about yesterday on hurrim al-usul, hurrim al-wusul, which means
One who is forbidden the foundation.
Foundation.
Forbidden the destination.
the destination. So the foundation is this. You close your eyes, you talk, and when you talk loud, and you don't go back or give up what you're saying. You stand by your words, but if you don't exactly understand what you're talking about, you'll always change because you don't have the asl, right? So you're one step forward and two steps backward. So you'll never be able to reach. That's what Ibn Taymiyyah said. On hurrima al-usula, hurrima al-wusul. So you go to the third one, the mubah. So mubah,
before you go to excuse me, المندوب بمعنى العربي هو
if you go to the lughatan, we get lost. We get lost. So
فاعل الذنب المندوب
لا talking about mad noob
Oh,
dhanb.
and this is mandub.
This is mandoob. Talking about madnoob, mudhnib, right?
Yeah, right.
Mudhnib, right?
Yeah.
Mudhnib is a sinner. So that's what is mixing with Uthman here. So I think this is a dal, right? So mudhnib is a sinner.
Yes.
Mudhnib is the one who did not do wajib. Mudhnib is the one who did not do wajib, right? Because the wajib is the one, if you do it, you will be rewarded. If you don't do it, you'll be punished. And what is the reason of punishment? Is al-ithm, or al-dhanb, or al-asyan, right? Sin or disobedient Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَالْمُبَاحُ مَا لَا يُثَابُ عَلَى فِعْلِهِ وَلَا يُعَاقَبُ عَلى تَرْكِهِ. Al-mubah. Even though mala, so it's totally different. It's totally different. So all is a la. So mala yuthabu fa'iluhu wala yu'aqabu tarikuhu. Who can guess that? Huh? It's right there, right? Yes, it's neutral. That's good.
The one who doesn't do it won't be rewarded. The one who does it won't be rewarded. The one who doesn't do it won't be punished.
Won't be punished. It's neutral. This one is neutral. It's all la. You do it, you have no reward. You don't do it, you have no punishment.
You do it, you have reward.
You have no reward.
Because it has a lot.
Yes, ma la, ma.
Yeah.
And this also goes ma.
Okay.
So is what I'm trying to say is neutral.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go here, it doesn't go here. Right?
Right.
So somebody may ask, why do you guys want to put in the deen? If I don't have a reward, why do I have to do it? We'll understand the nature of it and the benefit of also putting it there. But mubah, and you're gonna be surprised if somebody comes to you with something that is it's mandub, and say, yeah, this is mubah. It's mubah. Yeah, with mandub, Allah, they'll tell you mubah. And you look at them, they just don't want to waste time because they don't know. So if they mix this and this, then it's a problem. So for you, you always stay on that. Al-mubah. Someone comes, yeah, sure, this mubah is good. You'll be rewarded, mashallah. No, you'll not be rewarded. That is the definition of the mubah. ما لا يثاب فاعله ولا يعاقب تاركه. Then we go to the, actually mahdhur was supposed to be here, but let's go to ما يثاب على تركه ولا يعاقب على فعله. ما يثاب, so this one with this one, right? ما يثاب, ما يثاب, right? ما يثاب على فعله وما يثاب فاعله. ما يثاب مكروه
تاركه.
ما يثاب تاركه ولا يعاقب ولا يعاقب تاركه. Yes. So makruh is that's something what they call it unlawful, right? Unlawful. ما يثاب تاركه ولا يعاقب فاعله. ولا يعاقب. I'm supposed to say فاعله, right? Yeah, فاعله. ولا يعاقب تاركه. This is the one that confuses more people.
So it's ولا يعاقب
فاعله.
Your
Why do I
تاركه.
keep keeping تاركه? ولا يعاقب فاعله. ولا يعاقب فاعله. So actually محظور was supposed to be, but in order. So المكروه is ما يثاب على تركه ولا يعاقب على فعله. Which means to say ما يثاب تاركه ولا يعاقب فاعله. Which is the total opposite of what? The total opposite of wajib. The total opposite of wajib. So ما يثاب تاركه. So it's something that is unlawful. It's unlawful. If you don't do it, you will be rewarded by avoiding it. But if you do it, you will not be punished. Okay? So it's makruh. So you will go in makruhat as-salah, for example. And it's I'm going to give one makruh in makruhat as-salah. That's very common with our imams here. Don't tell the imams, okay? It's makruh in salah to make the second rak'ah in salat al-jahriyah longer than the first rak'ah. You get it? But why didn't tell our imams to do that?
It's makruh.
It's makruh.
To make the second rak'ah longer than the first.
Longer than the first.
Yeah.
So if we implement that sunnah, if we implement that, what are you having?
Reward.
You are rewarded by implementing that.
By leaving.
But by living it, by implementing it, that principle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you don't implement it, you are not being punished, but you're losing a reward. And when somebody comes to you, this is makruh, why are you doing it? And then they yell at you. But it's just makruh. Yeah, you don't have to, because they don't understand when there's a makruh. Makruh is it's such a big word that if somebody said, it kind of like very scary, kind of like saying, hey, you did something terrible. Oh, it's makruh. But of course, not doing it is greater than not doing it, right? Yes. So then you don't do it if it is makruh. Okay? If it is makruh, do not do it. And don't mix. This is fiqh. Okay? If you go to the muhaddithin, they will find a different definition, okay? Okay, but you don't know fiqh, okay? So then, Zakaria makruh is if you do it, if you avoid it, you'll be rewarded. If you do it, you will be punished. And just like when you are leading the salah, remember, making the first rak'ah of Maghrib or Isha or Fajr longer than the second one, even with one ayah, is a sunnah, right? Doing it the other way is makruh. Is makruh. So if you implement that principle, you're having the reward by not doing it, right? If you don't do it also, if you violate the principle, you have no reward. What is the next one? As-sahih. Huh?
No punishment.
No punishment. So we have as-sahih. As-sahih was supposed to be ما يتعلق به النفوذ ويعتد به. So this is ما يتعلق به النفوس ويع. So it's basically, it's something that we all, like when it happens, we'll accept it by nature.
ما يتعلق به.
Yeah, so all the hearts will just link to it, attach to it, accept it, right? And we get used to it. That has to be sahih. This is very important.
Is it fifth or?
Yeah, actually, we will come to that. It's very, very important. It seemed like very simple here, but I want to make it so simple to understand this concept. Don't take this. I almost speak to you my language, Olaf. My mouth is not being good. So don't take this and say, Sheikh, but you said hadith sahih is there. It's not hadith, okay? It's a mustalah. This is usul fiqh, okay? This is fiqh. So it's something that, you know, our souls are tied to. It's just like correct by default. It's just good. And no one will say it's bad, right? And we get used to it. We get used to it.
So is it like culture?
No, yes.
و-
ما يتعلق بالنفس ويعتد به. We get used to it.
Is it like culture, kind of like?
No,
No?
do not even bring culture here. So, it's an action that the fuqaha will put that will be accepted by everybody, and it will be easy to be used to.
Oh, okay. Like,
No, don't bring an example.
okay.
So, all I want to understand is as-sahih. Actually, the translation of sahih, because of if we go to the usuli, the ta'rif of sahih and muhaddith and all, it's going to be a problem, right? But here, we want to understand is something that when it comes, it's not going to be culture, because if culture is not part, it's not the deed, except if the deed accepts culture. But we don't in fiqh. So we have to make taqayyud, that limitations of watching it to go out of the circle, right? So it's going to be part of fiqh, but it's going to be a ruling that will be brought to us that we will all accept. We will accept, and we're going to get used to it.
We have 2 more minutes.
Now,
We got a question.
now.
So does it have to, is it specific
Which
to
one am I missing?
multiple people, or can it just be something one person does?
No, everybody. Like it's, if you go to the specific actions, all these things, today it can be million, and towards it to 2 million. So it's unlimited.
So that one specifically, it's if a group accepts it, right, or everyone inclines towards it. So what if no one else does it and I'm the only one doing it?
No, it's not like a. It's something that will be issued as a ruling.
Oh, okay.
It's not your actions. It's something that the fuqaha will issue as a ruling of this, and when they issue it, it's good,
Okay.
right? So wearing glasses, is that good?
Yeah.
Can we have a problem with it?
I'm not sure.
Right? I don't think so. Is that something that fiqh will not talk about? Yeah, we'll talk about it. So it's correct, right? And everyone's just gonna be okay, and we get used to it, right? It's part of our deal. So inshallah, we're gonna stop here.